What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for the Week 23 Premier League predictions. And what a week we just had. Manchester United going 3-3 into extra time after a late equaliser and then making it 4-3 right at the end. Here are the winning accumulators we had since the last episode a couple of days ago. We had the high odds Turkish league treble with Galatasaray and both teams to score, and Trabzonspor and Kasımpaşa both to score with over 2.5 goals. And then yesterday we had the Thursday, both teams to score fourfold, featuring the Premier League and the Belgian League. And then the Thursday treble, West Ham, Bournemouth, Real Madrid and Manchester United, of course. I was also very, very close to tipping Real Madrid to win 2-1 at 7.5. Looked really good, then I didn't, and then they won 2-0, and I was kicking myself. The day before, I did tip Liverpool and both teams to score, Tottenham and both teams to score, and Man City win to 0, and then Man City conceded a late consolation goal to Burnley in the 94th minute that saw that not come in. But if you want to get involved with exclusive members tips and accumulators, then check out the Patreon using that link up there or the first link in the description. Flashing up on the screen are all the people that have joined the Patreon since we started. I really, really do appreciate the support, and I'm looking forward to continue to get more cool winners like this, especially at that both teams to score fourfold. That is a huge dub. First up though, the early kickoff for week 23. It is Everton up against Tottenham. Everton drawing 0-0 with Fulham, and Tottenham beating Brentford 3-2. We did tip in the last video Tottenham to win and both teams to score. I do just want to say quickly as well, someone commented on one of my videos where I showed the winning accumulators, saying that some of the tips in that the winning accumulators didn't match up with the tips I made in the video. And that's one of the best parts about being a member of the channel, is that the predictions in my videos are subject to change. If I make a video a few days before the game and then on the match day when I post the tips for the members, there's some different team news or my feelings have changed or something like that, then I do sometimes offer a different perspective to members than I can do in the video, because when I make the video, I don't have that same perspective, so I can update my predictions basically in real time for the members. So that is why that happens sometimes. But all of the winning accumulators that I've ever shown in my videos have all been given out to members, and all of them would attest to that. So if you want to get involved, you can do that. We're going to move on. Everton, Tottenham. I do think Tottenham are going to win. And I'm just going to go 2-0 to Tottenham. They showed some real character to score 3 goals against Brentford in, 10-15 minutes. And they held on to the lead, winning 3-2. I'm going to go 2-0 to Tottenham. And the odds look good. Tottenham to win at 2.25. After this is Brighton up against Crystal Palace. Brighton might be one of the most shocking results of the season, actually. Certainly in terms of a handicap. Brighton were odds-on favourite to win, 1.65. So to predict Luton -3 handicap would be insane. The odds would be crazy, but Luton absolutely just destroyed them. What a performance. What an absolutely insane performance, an insane game. I think Brighton are going to bounce back to winning ways against Crystal Palace. I'm going to go 2-1, but my tip is both teams to score at 1.7. Crystal Palace sort of blowing a, well, not blowing a lead. I think they came from behind, actually. It went to 2-2, and then they managed to make it 3-2 late on against Sheffield United, as they should. It shouldn't have been that difficult for them to win, but they got there in the end. Brighton to win here, 2-1. After this is Burnley up against Fulham. I found this one difficult to predict. Burnley beating Fulham at Craven Cottage earlier in this season, which is a very, very good result for them, and they really are in need of points. I thought about going for a Fulham win, but they're just not in good form. I know Burnley aren't in the greatest form either, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, sharing the points here at Turf Moor, and my tip is once again at the same value of 1.7, both teams to score. After this, Newcastle up against Luton. Luton flying high, as I said, with a 4-0 win against Brighton at home, and Newcastle beating Aston Villa 3-1 away from home. I actually suggested in my video, I said, I predicted a draw, but I said, I know a lot of people thought Aston Villa would win, but I could also see Newcastle winning and both teams to score. And someone said, there's no way, they said in the comments, there's no way Newcastle go to Villa Park and do that. And, they did. So I think Newcastle are going to win this game against Luton at St. James's Park. Keeping it fairly straightforward, 2-0 to Newcastle. And my tip is going to be Newcastle -1 handicap at 2.1. After this, it's Sheffield United up against Aston Villa. Sheffield United, they need points. Aston Villa, they'll want to bounce back. And if you're going to bounce back, even if it's not at home, you want to go to Sheffield United, Bramall Lane at least. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Aston Villa, and my tip is going to be Aston Villa to win at 1.61. After this, Bournemouth up against Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth are gifted the dream start by Calvin Phillips on his West Ham debut, passing it back to the keeper inadvertently to Dominic Solanke, who slotted it past the goalie. Obviously, Solanke, the top English goal scorer in the Premier League this season with 13 goals, and I don't think that counts the goal he did score against Luton in the match that was postponed and will be replayed. So he's on fire. He's scoring goals. I'm going to go for a Bournemouth home win here. against Forest. Although Forest only lost to Arsenal 2-1, and we did tip Arsenal and both teams to score there, it was quite a fortunate goal for Forest to score. It was also late, a bit of a consolation goal, and Arsenal were sort of all over them, to be honest. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I think Bournemouth are going to win this one. I'm going to go 2-1 to Bournemouth. My tip is both teams to score at 1.66 because I do think both teams are going to score. But I did consider Bournemouth win at 1.7, even considered Bournemouth win and both teams to score. And as someone who's local to Bournemouth, it's quite nice this season to actually tip and predict Bournemouth to win games. I remember with Bournemouth and Brighton, sounds hard to believe for recent football fans, but 3, 4, 5 years ago on the channel, I never predicted Bournemouth to win because they were that bad. And I also never predicted Brighton to win. It took me months and months and months to tip my first Brighton win in a video because they used to be pretty terrible, I'm not going to lie. And it's nice as someone, like I said, who's local to Bournemouth, to see Bournemouth putting in competitive performances. Their recent form is as good as anyone, really, apart from Liverpool. So, yeah, I think Bournemouth are going to win 2-1. My tip is both teams to score at 1.66. After this, it's Chelsea up against Wolves. Chelsea got absolutely battered by Liverpool. I do think they should have had at least one penalty. Arguably, I think they should have had two. I think the one from Van Dijk on Conor Gallagher, it was a penalty. It just was. Van Dijk's massive thigh hit Conor Gallagher's leg and he went down. But the one way Van Dijk kicked, I think it was Nkunku, it just is a penalty. Both of those, for example, are given a foul anywhere else on the pitch. But the second one, that is a clear and obvious error, and I have no idea why VAR didn't look at it. So Virgil Van Dijk, we can call him for that one. But even though Chelsea should have had a penalty or two, they were soundly beaten by Liverpool, and they're going to need to bounce back. Wolves, you could argue unlucky to lose to Man United, but I think Man United deserved to win that game. I think by a 1-goal margin. And we did predict they'd win by a 1-goal margin in the last week. I think it's fair enough. I think Chelsea are going to bounce back and win this one at Stamford Bridge. They've got better form at the Bridge, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win, and I'm going to tip it. Chelsea to win, 1.61. Classic, you could go Chelsea to win and under 3.5 goals. That allows for 2-1, 1-2, or 3-0. But I do think Wolves are good for a goal. As we saw, they scored 3 against United. Maybe Chelsea and both teams to score. Maybe even both teams to score and over 2.5 goals, because Wolves won't be scared of Chelsea. Wolves aren't really scared of anyone, to be honest. Even Man City, Wolves are a bit of a bogey team for them. So I think both teams will score. So perhaps look at that market as well. After that, it's Manchester United up against West Ham at Old Trafford. West Ham, Man United, both there or thereabouts in the league, pushing for those European spots, trying to see if maybe any of them can make a push for top 4, even if the top 4 now look fairly settled. It's a bit weird. The Premier League Instagram posted a post saying that 3 points for all the top 4 teams this week, meaning Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Tottenham, because they were the top 4 by the end of the game week. But at the start of the game week, Aston Villa were in 4th and Tottenham were in 5th. Villa didn't get 3 points, so it actually wasn't 3 points for the top 4, and that's why Aston Villa were no longer in it. It was 3 points for the teams that are now in the top 4 because of those 3 points. It's just like, why are they pushing that narrative that the top 4 all won when Aston Villa was in the top 4? They lost. I don't know. Weird. But when the Premier League have an agenda, they're going to push it, aren't they? I think Man United are going to win. I think both teams will score. I'm going to go 3-1 to Manchester United. The tip is Man United to win at 1.66, but Man United and both teams to score probably around about 3 is a good look as well. And after this, Super Sunday, game of the week, Arsenal up against Liverpool. This is probably, I would say, Arsenal's last chance to, even as an outsider, make a push for the title. If they lose here, I think it's gone down to a 2-horse race already. But Arsenal, if they win here, I still just think it's basically in the long run a 2-horse race, but giving Man City the advantage. I really don't think Arsenal have the legs to win this league, but maybe not being at the top with all eyes on them allows them to sort of go behind the scenes and get the wins they need and accumulate points. And this is a game where they really can make a difference in terms of winning the title. However, I just think Liverpool looked at their fluid best against Chelsea, to be honest. They've dealt with the absence of Mo Salah so well, and I'm actually going to go for a Liverpool away win. Maybe this is just me as an Arsenal fan thinking that if I predict Liverpool to win here, I'm either right about that or Arsenal get something from the game, and I'm kind of happy with both of those. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win to Liverpool. My tip is Liverpool double chance and both teams to score. So that means obviously it can't be 0-0, but it can be a score draw or Liverpool to win and both teams to score. And I think that's fairly likely. Arsenal should score, but Liverpool double chance, both teams to score. Looks good. They look good. and that's what I'm going with. And final game of the game week, Monday Night Football. It's Brentford up against Manchester City. Brentford, one of the teams with the best record against Manchester City. Only played a few times, obviously, but always give them a good game. I think City are going to win. Shock. Shock horror. I think Brentford are going to score. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Manchester City. And my tip is going to be Man City to win and both teams to score at 2.87. I think that looks very good. I think we could see results in both teams to score for Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Villa maybe, and maybe Bournemouth as well. I think there's a real potential for a result on both teams to score treble to be plucked out of here, much like the Wednesday football with Man City, Liverpool and Tottenham as well. I think the teams that are playing certain teams are likely to concede but also quite likely to win, and that lends itself well to result on both teams to score. So that is it for week 23 Premier League predictions. If you enjoyed it, please do drop a like, subscribe down below on the road to 30,000 subscribers, and leave your predictions down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.